Listen, I know that it ended like months ago, and I know that I'm really behind, and I should be talking about other stuff, but you know what? Screw you. We're talking about the Jujutsu Kaisen this week. Also, I'm recording this in a very, very hot room, so please be thankful for this. Alright, so you already know that Jujutsu Kaisen is like one of the biggest animes right now. Your sister, your mother, your brother, your grandmother, your grandpa that's currently in the grave right now, all of them, they know how good this anime is and they know how poppin' it is, but I'm here to break down the reason as to why this is a good anime. Because oh my god, they do so many good and right things with this anime. And when I mean good and right, I legitimately mean that it is very, very hard for me to find a single flaw. Until this day, I don't think that I can truly find one. And the only two anime that I say that about is Fullmetal Alchemist and Demon Slayer. That's the level of beauty that we are talking about. Starting off with the plot, when you look at the plot for Jujutsu Kaisen, it really doesn't look like much. Like, honest to God, in most cases, it would look like just your typical shonen anime. But when you dig deeper to what it actually does, this show executes a lot of things really well. It takes old tropes that are old and worn out and used a lot, feel fresh, while also implementing a lot of good new things to the genre. For example, one of the really big things that this anime does is give really good world building and a really good magic system. In terms of the world building, you see that they're high school students, they go to a school, they have the typical tournament arc, they do all this stuff, but instead of going into regular norm of just having it exist, there's actually things that make it structural. There's things that have stakes, and they surround it over the actual bigger story of the anime. The tournament isn't just a random tournament. It's not just some random filler. It's a part of the actual story and plays into the bigger aspect of the world around them. And the same thing goes with the power system or the magic system that they have within the show. The show keeps it fairly simple. Everyone has this type of energy, and you can do basic things with that energy. Some people can do different stuff, but there are ways for you to power up. There are certain things that everyone can do, but you need to reach a certain power level, and there's also a very reasonable established power cap, a level of power in which everybody could reach, when in this case is Sukuna when he has all 20 fingers. And we see that right now we don't really have anybody that's like that in this show, except for Goju, but we're not 100% sure. But they leave it up to speculation, which I like. They don't tell it or not. They don't give us the answer, and they don't just say it out loud and just say, oh yeah, whatever, like it's kind of whatever thing. They establish that we have characters that have this level, we have characters that don't have this level. It makes it fairly clear and fairly easy to understand, and the magic system isn't complicated, but it's still super powerful and super amazing. You see stuff like what Goju does, what the big ass buff dude does, what all the characters do, and it's amazing to sit in such a fairly simple magic system, and that alone is impressive, because usually you would need like a complicated one, kind of like Hunter x Hunters, where there's a lot of rules and there's a lot of stipulations and you gotta follow a certain set of really hard standard rules, which we would call a hard magic system. But Jujutsu Kaisen employs this really well, and there's not many people that actually do soft magic systems very well, because they're really easy to mess up and you're really able to lose yourself within that type of field. But Jujutsu Kaisen finds a way to both keep it grounded while showing off particular stuff, and that alone is impressive enough, because there's not many shonen animes that can do that very well across all decades and all eras of the shonen genre. Another thing I want to give Jujutsu Kaisen for a lot of props for is being able to balance the different kind of emotions that they can play throughout each episode. Not a lot of shonens can actually do that, and they end up faltering to just one and just kind of running off that, where they're either trying to be super funny or super serious, and in a way it works for the most part, but they don't really dwell towards many of the other ones. But Jujutsu Kaisen has a lot of that. You have a lot of funny scenes, you have a lot of sad scenes, you have a lot of very serious scenes, and they all play really well with each other. They blend so well that it feels like you're actually seeing someone go through life. Because as humans, we go through many different emotions, and sometimes we go through them all within a single day. It feels natural to see them being kind of goofy and kind of lighthearted, while at the same time being kind of serious. And it kind of plays the more bigger aspect of their own world of, what they have to do is kind of serious. So you have to kind of find the joy in the small things in life. And I think Jujutsu Kaisen really pulls that off in an interesting way and gives like this really good depth of how the world should work, or how a typical world, what they built, should work. And it makes it far more engaging and a lot more relatable to the audience. And they apply that same exact method with asking more questions within the show. Something a lot of shonen anime don't do. Yes, I know I'm shitting on the shonen genre, but there's a lot of things that it doesn't do right, unfortunately. But Jujutsu Kaisen does them really well, which is why I regard it so highly. But in terms of asking the moral question, Jujutsu Kaisen actually tests the morality of a lot of the characters, applying of if you should do this, or if you do A, will it affect B. One of the best examples for this is that Yuji, the main character, is confronted with a conundrum that he has to kill 3 demons, but these 3 demons are children demons. They're childs, and he doesn't really want to harm them, nor are they really doing anything bad. In fact, they do imply that these forms are actually still human. So you apply it in a way where, is it morally okay to kill them even though they still have some human aspect? Or should you let them live, for that matter? And would that cause any negativity in the world if they were allowed to live? And this is why I love Jujutsu Kaisen so much, and one of the biggest reasons I do, because it asks a lot of questions that shonen anime are too afraid of to ask. If you have the power to do something, do you have a responsibility to do that thing? If something is hurting you, do you have your right to turn your back on that thing, even though you know there are people that need your support in that matter? Is one person dying worth the greater good of many people? What is the value of a life? If something is like a human, should it live? It asks so many questions and applies them into its story so well that it makes you think each and every episode. And that's what it's a beautiful thing to see from such a show like Jujutsu Kaisen, because it just makes you think. And that's what I want a show to have me to do. Now, obviously, there's shows that have their purpose. There's shows that, you just watch it for the flash. There's shows that you just watch it for animation. You want to feel love, you want to feel good. But not any shonen animes can do this properly. And that's not a hate to most shonen animes. Like I said, a lot of them have their place and where they're supposed to be. But I would like to see more shonen anime branch out on this path. Ask them more questions, because you have so many people that have this power, but they don't really address it. They just exist, and they're just like, oh, well, whatever. But, there should be characters that should question, hey, I have this power. Should I really be doing this? Or, hey, this person's in trouble, but should I kill that person in order to save a bunch? I just want more anime to, or at least particularly shonen anime, to explore that type of route. It's no shot at shonen anime, like I said before. I guess I'm just burnt out from all the normal stuff that I've seen as of late, but I still appreciate Jujutsu Kaisen nonetheless for doing so. Now, all of that is good. Everything I've said about the plot and the whole world about it is very good, but it is truly the characters that make everything I just say really come through and really shine on its best. Now, I know this claim is going to sound weird, and just hear me out on this one for just a second, but I do like how the fact that no one truly acts like they don't know what they're doing. And what I mean by that is no one acts dumb. Like, I don't have to question the actions, but the world acts like that should be the right action. Everyone has some type of sense of what they're doing, or at least there is some type of emotional route that they took to make that decision. Like, there is a reasoning and thinking behind the actions. For example, there is the character Maki, who makes the decision to leave her clan, and it wasn't necessarily there just to give some sappy backstory or to just be mysterious and whatnot and like Because I've seen that before, where someone would choose to leave something but not really have a reason to do so, or the reason doesn't really make sense. Maki's does make sense, and it doesn't make sense on a surface level. It makes sense in a very long-term, prolonged reason, because this will play out most likely throughout her entire story. So it would make sense for her to leave. She'll probably have some interactions with her clan. She's had interactions with her sister. Her clan is probably doing something that's not good, that is playing to the overall problem that the story presents to itself. That's the type of thing I like. Things that kind of circle around and back himself. I want a character to have a reason that also plays into the larger, grander story. Everything I like being intertwined, nice, and flows together like a river. I don't want rocks in there that are just there for no reason that stop the flow. I want a nice flow. I want a nice stream, and Jujutsu Kaisen knows how to apply that nice stream with all of its characters and all of its problems. And it's a wonderful thing to see. Once again, it's good to see a shonen actually putting the effort into storytelling, into actually telling something that is, I guess what you would say, cohesive. Another good example is when Yuji is confronted by the teacher, Yaga Masamichi, and he's asking him, why do you want to be a sorcerer? Why do you want to come to Jujutsu Tech? And he's saying, well, my grandfather told me I should. And Masamichi keeps beating on him. Well, his dog keeps beating on him, but in essence, he keeps beating on him for a proper answer. And Masamichi tells him, so you're just going to do something because someone told you to? You're only going to do something because what? You feel it in this way? What's your reasoning? What's your purpose? What inside you is telling you, I want to become a sorcerer. I want to become a student at Jujutsu Tech. I want to be somebody who is going to hone his skills in becoming a sorcerer and fighting spirits. And Yuji gives the answer, because I feel like I have a responsibility with this new power to do that good and to do as much good as I can before I'm essentially gone from this world. That's a good reason. That's an extremely good reason. A lot of shonen characters do this because someone told them to in a dream far, far away, and now they must find the great things in order to do that. But to never question it. They don't question it. They don't do anything about it. They just listen and they follow. And while that does give a reason, that doesn't give a logical reason. Why not question it? Why not ask that spirit, why should I? Why is it my responsibility to? Why is it my responsibility to? It goes all the way back to that simple asking moral questions reasoning. And it applies to all the characters. All the characters have actual reason for what they do things. They're not doing it because of some blind rage, or they're doing it. Some might have blind rage, but it's blind rage that was thought out. They're not just saying that, oh, you're angry and stuff like that. They'll sit there like, no, I've thought this through. I thought the consequences, and I'm going to do it because I've thought this out, and I know exactly what I'm going to do. And that is a compelling way to do it. Not only does it tell us that the antagonist or protagonist has a very strong reason for doing what they are doing, but it also reaffirms that their will to do it is far stronger and they're willing to go the distance for that exact thing. And it makes it, when characters are pushing that breaking limit and they go and they push their powers beyond the limits that they can, into deeper meaning. And it just warms my heart to see. And that doesn't go for any of the good people too. That goes for the villains. The villains act like they know what they're gonna do. They plan things out very meticulously, and at least when they do something crazy or dumb, they're doing it for very good reasons. Whether they're literally psychotic in the brain, or there's a bigger purpose to it all. And honestly, when the good guys are being smart and the bad guys are being smart, it just makes into a really good anime. And can I just say, I love the fact that Jujutsu Kaisen has an actual strong female cast. I'm talking about every girl on that show has the potential to be a waifu. Like, there is so much, from looks to actual personalities to abilities, that make the female cast so raw. And even with that, the writing for all of them, It's so beautiful. Even some of the ones that we haven't gotten yet have very hints and taste of good writing. Like, I have never been more hype for a female cast in a show than this show right here. Like, legitimately, all the girls in this show are hype as hell. They are so good, so badass. Oh, if you were to take, I would take all the girls from the Jujutsu Kaisen series and legitimately put them up against anyone, and I'd probably still pick them due to the fact that they're so badass. Yes, I know there's a lot that would probably body them, but I would still pick them just because they're so amazing and so good. Like, genuinely, they put so much care into it. Because, listen, I don't want to shit on the shonen genre anymore, but I'm gonna be that guy, okay? They've done a really terrible job with female characters. Not many are good, and you're very lucky to get a decent one from most shows, okay? The fact that this show has top-notch, grade A female characters is amazing. And I know someone's gonna be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Boy, it's not just the looks. There are some whose personalities are so good for so many types of people. Like, I'm talking about amazing, just amazing fucking characters. And that goes for the men too. Oh, Gojo? Satoru? He's fucking daddy. Okay, I'm just gonna say that right now. I'm gonna go on the record and just say that he's daddy. I know that some of y'all may question me on this, but I think a lot of people will agree with me when I say Satoru is daddy. I'm sorry. Goju's daddy. A little bit Sukuna, but I'm not... I've grown out of that evil phase or wanting to be stepped on. But I can also agree too. Now, I'm also not going to lie. This next part is going to be very gushy-wise. There's not really any logic that I'm putting into this part in terms of music and animation. I'm just basically going off for however long I sell for when I talk. So, it'll most likely be an unedited version. I'm just giving that warning right now. Jujutsu Kaisen has probably some of the most hype-ass animation out there right now. There is no question about it. The only thing that comes even close to that right now is Demon Slayer. And even then, I still go back and forth on which one I like. Because some days, I look at episode 19, I'm like, God damn, that's good. And then I look at episode 13 from Jujutsu Kaisen when they're beating on that man, I'm like, God damn, that looks good. And then I look at the water scenes from all that Tanjiro's using, and I'm just like, man, that looks good too. And I go back and forth. Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, the Black Flash, the way that they use all their spirit energy, the Goju's fusion of that red, whatever you call it, it's all beautiful. The lava spewing out that dude's hand, magnificent. The dude spreading his arms and everyone going off and doing their own thing, fucking fantastic. The slow-mos, the fucking slow-mos, my guy, are immaculate as fuck. Like, how do you make something this good? Like, this is so good, and I fucking love it, and it makes my body all tingly inside. And it also comes to the bigger problem that I have with Mappa, whether sometimes it can be hit and sometimes it can be missed. But I'm not gonna focus on that right now because I'm talking about Jujutsu Kaisen. And Jujutsu Kaisen is so goddamn good. Oh, the animation! I could literally watch that show with no sound and just have the animations, and I'd still be happy. I wouldn't even have subtitles. I would want to just appreciate all the animation that show has to offer. Oh, that last fight for the series. Oh, when Goju was buffing up, was teaming up with his buff boy, and they were going against fucking Plant Villain, and they were just busting ass, flying through the air, fucking doing this shit. Oh, God, and then Goju with the save, with the beautiful ass. Everything was beautiful. Even the dude playing the guitar was beautiful. Everyone was beautiful. And amazing. Okay, that wasn't the last fight. That was my bad. That was Nobara and Yuji versus the two brothers. But that fight was also raw because Yuji went Black Flash, and then that was raw. And then Nobara brought her shit up. She's like, the fuck? You think that you could get me with your blood? Ha, two could play like that game. And Jujutsu Kaisen is just such a beautiful show. And everything, I would still probably give it a 7 out of 10 just because it's immaculate. Everything could be trash, and you would still see me giving this show a high rating purely for the animation, because the animation for that show is so goddamn raw. It's beautiful and amazing, and I love it, and it's spectacular, and it's great. It makes me feel warm inside when I watch it, and I appreciate it. And yes, I know I am rambling right now, but let me just tell you, I haven't even gotten to the music yet. The music for that show, every opening and closing is a bop. Not only is the animation good, but each track is goddamn phenomenal. The first opening and ending were goddamn phenomenal. The second opening ending wasn't that strong, but still hype as fuck. Okay? Like, it's typical for, anime. You don't really follow up that first OP and EP. That usually sets the tone for the whole anime. So, and like the second one, you kind of don't have to care because you got everyone watching, and regardless of not if the opening's good, people are still gonna watch it. That's how it was with Fire Force. The second opening for that was ass, but I really still loved it, and I still love Fire Force, and I watched that whole goddamn thing. But they still put effort into that. And it was so good, and I loved it, and it was great, and it was amazing, and the slow motion, and the animation was great, and the bubbles were, God, all the music in that show is great, all the animation in that show is great. I cannot wait for the next season, and that movie. If you thought that the show was immaculate, if you thought the music in that show was great, imagine how that fucking movie is going to be. Next year, that movie is going to be the Demon Slayer of this year. Hands down. Hands fucking down. That movie is going to come out, and it's going to be the biggest shit. It's going to be the biggest shit. I don't know if it's going to be bigger than Demon Slayer, but it's going to be on that level. 100%. Okay, so with the rambling out of the way, we come back to our center of gravity, and wrapping up this whole review, Jujutsu Kaisen is a show that truly shows itself as something of peak perfection. When I think of something that should belong in the big three, shows that truly deserve the spot for the big three, I think of shows like Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen, because those two shows not only are shows that are loved by the community and shows that have shown peak perfection, but those shows are shows that the anime community in general should strive for. Now, I get with the culture, it's kind of hard and to ask studios to reach that type of level. Not everyone has the funding, not everyone has the ability to. I get it, and I'm not trying to say, if you're not at the level, you're trash. But you should strive to make things that beautiful and that amazing. I've only seen stuff on that level in shows in like Your Name, A Silent Voice, Yurelai and April, Violet Evergarden. And it shows like those where it's like, man, if you can apply the level of quality in terms of animation that you get from those love shows and add it, like love shows and drama shows, and you add it to shonens, my God, it would be immaculate. And here we are at that timeline where the art and the fighting are fused into one, and it looks immaculate as fuck. So with that being said, I'm giving Jujutsu Kaisen a 10 out of 10. Obviously. I literally just talked and gushed about Jujutsu Kaisen and positivity. Nothing for 20 minutes. Do you think I was going to give it anything lower? Absolutely not. 10 out of 10 anime. Fight me on that. Well, wasn't that just a gush-filled moment of excitement and wonder? Anyways, I want to say thank you guys for watching the video all the way through. I do definitely and deeply appreciate it. I tried to find the artist who did my avatar. I've been using it a lot more, and I wanted to credit her properly, but I can't find it. So if you watch our videos, or if you know the art style, let me know so I can properly credit her. I think she may have deleted her account, or maybe she blocked me. I feel really bad if that was the case, but if anybody knows, please just let me know. But for the outro music, I will thank Zeke Beats for providing the outro music. He makes a lot of cool free-for-profit beats on his channel, so I definitely say go check him out. So yes, this is going to be the start of me trying to upload a little bit more. How long this is gonna last, I have no fucking clue, but let's hope we can end this year strong with just a lot more uploads. Hopefully by the time this comes out, the podcast will come out this week again, the Threeps and Waves. Me and Alex are trying to get back on that as well, so hopefully you'll be seeing that around, and we're trying to make a new channel for it as well. So yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed. Stay hydrated, make sure you eat healthy, and I will see you guys all in the next video. I love you. Bye.